Hello, hello, hello. How y'all doing? I hope you're having an absolutely amazing Thursday evening. And just that you had a great Thursday. I'm extremely excited for tonight's live stream. But for those of y'all that are new to this page, my name is Joseph Ngugi. I am one of the co-founders of Pre-PT Grind, which is a pre-physical therapy, pre-PT platform that is meant to help you as a pre-PT get accepted into PT school without wasting a lot of time or money. Judy, great to see you. Eliana, great to see you. Juan, great to see you. Great to have y'all here tonight. Just as you guys are coming on, it's showing me that there's more people than I can see the names. So feel free to just comment below just so I know that you're here. But for those of you that are new, this is the best place you can be as a pre-PT. Let's just say it simply. Because we are going to put you around. Obviously, you've seen other pre-PTs that are on the same journey as you, but also just giving you everything that you need specifically for you to get yourself accepted into a physical therapy program. So if that is you, you are in the right place. And every week you'll see different trainings in this group, but at least once a week you'll see a training with myself and Casey, who's the other co-founder of Pre-PT Grind. Ali, Kelsey, great to have y'all here. And we will be coming in to bring in some heat every single time. But it's always things that are specific to you, usually coming from conversations we've had with some of our students from the accepted system or things that we've seen in this group. And we're like, ooh, like this is a topic that we have to address because our goal is to make sure you guys have the advantage that no other pre-PT in history has ever had. And so if y'all are cool with that, then you're in the right place. And tonight's topic is going to be one that's very needed. Let me see if I can add Casey on here. Casey, let me know if you can see the invitation. Let me know if you can see the invitation. As Casey is hopping on, let me know in the comments where you guys are joining us from right now. If you're watching it live or replay, I just want to know where y'all are joining from right now. Let me see if I can invite you again, Case. Let's see. All right, Casey, it sent you an invitation. Let me know if it came through. And Casey, if it doesn't work, just hop off and then try to hop back on. And we'll try again. So let's see if that works. If it doesn't work, then we'll figure it out. Michael, great to see you. Bailey, great to see you as well. Let me know where you guys are joining from tonight, and then we'll dive in. I'm just trying to buy some time a little bit before Casey hops on, just to make sure that he's able to connect. Case, let me know in the comments, bro, if it's not working. If it's not working, then try to hop off and then hop back on. But as you guys are here, so right now, how many of you have like applied this cycle? So if you applied this cycle, you're going to receive tonight's message very differently from someone who is applying next cycle. And every single one of you has different stories, and that's the beauty of being a pre-PT. But there's one thing that I want y'all to understand tonight. If you want to make sure that on your next attempt, whether that's now or next year or whenever you're applying, that you're not having to apply over and over and over and over and over. Because, I mean, let's be honest, that's one of our biggest fears, that we'll just keep applying and then things just won't go our way, and then we'll just kind of be stuck in that loop. And so tonight we're going to talk about the rejection loop. If you're live, comment below, say rejection loop. And Facebook has been trippy, so I might not see the comment. But if you're live, comment rejection loop, because tonight we're going to talk about how to pull yourself out of the rejection loop, and you might not even know that you're in it. I don't know why it's not. Can you guys hear me? If you guys can hear me, because it's not letting me invite Casey onto the live. So just let me know in the comments if you guys can hear me, so that as we continue, we're all good to go. And then Case, just let me know if you're having trouble on your end, bro. But rejection loop. So I've had a fair number of conversations with students, really over the last, well, I talk to students all the time. Our students from the accepted system, but lately, because we're in the application cycle, I've been hearing a lot of different things. So we're getting students that are saying, "Hey, I'm waitlisted." We have students that are saying, "Hey, I'm still waiting to hear from programs." All right, thanks, Bailey. Aaron, great to have you here. Sonia, great to have you here. Isabella, Kevin, great to have you all here. And so I hear students that are saying, "Hey, like I'm still waiting." That might be you. I have students saying, "Hey, I already got my first rejection letter. I already got 2 rejection letters." And I'm hearing it from this group, the pre-doctor physical therapy students page. And those are the moments where it almost feels like the earth stands still. And you really take a moment to just kind of reflect. You're like, man, I've put in so much work. I've put in so much work. I've put in so much work as a student. I've sacrificed so many things, whether it's my family. I've sacrificed my time. I've had to go back and retake classes only to get a rejection letter. Well, first of all, tonight we're not talking about what to do when you get rejected. We'll do another training on that because that's another very important conversation. Tonight I want to talk about the rejections that can be avoided. And a lot of them are what I'm going to call tonight the rejection loop, right? So the rejection loop is something that a lot of students, over 50% of applicants don't know they're in it. And they only realize that something's wrong after they apply and they don't get into any programs. And unfortunately, because they don't realize that they're in the rejection loop, which I'll explain in just a second, because they don't realize they're in the rejection loop, they assume, well, Joseph, maybe it's me. Maybe as an applicant, I'm just not a fit for PT school. Maybe I'm just not smart enough. Y'all ever felt that? Maybe I'm just not equipped to handle PT school. Maybe what my advisor said, your advisor that's never really been to PT school, anyway, maybe what my advisor said that I should possibly choose a different career path is what I should abide by. Maybe I should listen to them. After 1 cycle of getting rejected. What if it happens for 2 cycles? What then? And for those of y'all that have followed us for a while, you know that we honestly believe that if physical therapy is for you, it's for you. Regardless of what your story has been, regardless of how many rejections you've had, regardless of what your GPA is, regardless of how many times you've taken the GRE, that has nothing to do with your ability to get into PT school. But the rejection loop is something that we do to ourselves. And I see it far too often. Well, before I tell you all what the rejection loop is, I want you to ask yourself these questions. You don't have to comment them. Just ask yourself as you're listening. When you're applying to PT programs, did you kind of feel this moment of panic and just say, hey, you know what? Let me just apply to as many schools as I can, just in case. You don't have to comment it. Don't worry. I just want you to really think because I want you to figure out, hey, am I in the rejection loop or am I not? Did you apply to a lot of schools? Did you apply to 15 schools, 20 schools? I think we looked it up one time. I think the most schools that a student has ever applied to is 71, I think it was. I think it was documented somewhere. So have you applied to a lot of programs? Okay, let me ask another question. Are all the decisions you've made been out of fear of what might go wrong? Maybe it's the schools you've chosen. Maybe it's just like everything. Has your retakes? Have you just gone in with the approach of thinking, you know what? This just might not go well. This just might not work out. Maybe I should have a backup plan. Maybe I should start, thinking about, having my hand in this profession. Maybe I want to be an athletic trainer. Maybe I already am. Maybe I want to consider staying in this profession, even though I want to be a PT. Y'all, if you've ever had those conversations with yourself, you might actually be in the rejection loop. The rejection loop is something where we create it for ourselves. It's it's a reality where that is created 100% from the fear of being rejected. Now, let me get a little deeper. So I spoke with a student recently, and the student like started freaking out. They were like, "Hey, Joseph, like I don't know what to do," and I was like, "Oh, like talk to me, like tell me what's been going on." And they said, "Well, I have a couple rejections already," and I was like, "Oh man, like just." And we talked through it, and I really believe that when you're rejected, you have to kind of go through it. It's like mourning a loss of something, and it's very significant to you. So I firmly believe that you should feel what you need to feel, and like I said, we'll do another live training on rejection and how to handle it and how to crush it after that. But then I listened, and what ended up happening was the fact that like out of panic, this student had applied to over 16 programs. Now, why is that significant? Y'all, like, man, I'm about to go deep tonight. So why is that so important to understand? So this student, and if this is you, I'm not saying this to be rude. I just want y'all to be very self-aware, because if we're going to help y'all crush it as pre-PTs, like we're going to have to be real. Because I firmly believe that every single one of you watching me right now, listening to me right now, whether this is as a podcast after the fact, whether this is live, whether this is replay, if you want to be a physical therapist, it's yours. Don't let anybody take that away from you. But if we're going to go and take it, if we're going to go and get our acceptance, well, there's a few things that we have to straighten out. And this rejection loop is taking too many dreams. And I want y'all to get out of it. So what happens in the rejection loop is we do things out of fear of getting rejected. So for this student, because they were afraid of getting rejected, they acted on it by saying, I'm going to apply to as many schools in my state and any school that I know of, and schools that students that like my friends applied there. My grandma went to a school by there, and they applied to as many schools as possible, hoping that at least one of those programs will accept them, which is fine. Like, because, if you get accepted, I guess it's worth it, but you waste a lot of money. But what happens is this. What happens is when you get a rejection, you might have applied to programs that you are actually not a match for. Did y'all ever know that? Like, did y'all ever know that you can actually be a match for schools? Like, you might have actually applied to schools that you weren't a match for. And then when you got rejected, you got a false result. And a false result means that you got told that you were not like a good applicant. So now you believe it. Now, unfortunately, you believe it. You believe, oh my goodness, these 2 schools or these 3 schools told me that I was not ready to be in their program. So that must mean that deep inside, that must mean that I might not be a good applicant. Y'all, we take it personally. But did y'all see what happened before? Out of fear, we do things that actually set us up for a false result. I don't know if y'all are hearing what I'm talking about tonight. Out of fear, we do things that give us a false result. So in that case, the fear led to applying to as many schools as possible. The false result was there are schools, right? There are schools that reject me. And those schools are schools that I wasn't even a match for to begin with. So now I start to falsely believe that I'm not a good applicant. I start to believe maybe PT is not for me. Y'all see how this goes down a rabbit hole? And I don't want y'all to ever have to feel that. I don't want y'all to ever have to experience that. So have you caught yourself in the rejection loop? You go to retake a class. You've taken Anatomy 1 or Anatomy 2 before, got a C, maybe got a D, and you go in to retake it, and the honest truth is, like, didn't work out. You retook it and you're like, man, I don't get it. Like, I retook this class. Y'all ever taken a class and you got another like not so great score afterwards, and you're just like, I must just not be good at school. How am I gonna handle PT school? Like, you might not say it out loud, but these are the thoughts that we all think. Y'all, we were pre-PTs too, so I know exactly what you might be experiencing. For me, it was chemistry and physics. I sucked at them. Like, y'all listen, like, I always tell my wife that when we have kids and when they're doing physics and chem, I'm gonna get a tutor, because naturally I'm just not great at them, right? So, but I had 2 tutors for both of them. 2 tutors for both of them. to make sure that when I took them, like I was good. But a lot of times we go back into it and we're like, oh my goodness, well, I got destroyed by anatomy before. I got destroyed by physics before. I got destroyed by chem before. Well, I guess it means that, it might happen again. So we go in not even believing that there's another way to do it. We reapply not believing that there's a completely different way to do it. Where you don't have to apply to 20 schools and you can apply to 5 and actually have a better chance at getting in. Where you don't have to be great at physics, but you can retake it and still get an A. A lot of times, y'all, because of this rejection loop, because we're playing out of fear of what we believe will go wrong, man, it actually happens. It happens because our actions lead up to it. And it starts to trip us up. And then we let other people in our lives who have no business telling us things about our experience, we let them add to it. We have family members that'll add to it and they'll say, hey man, maybe PT is not it for you. We have advisors that add to it. Hey, you can't handle this. You can't handle PT school. Y'all ever been told that? The rejection loop. Oh, how I would love for pre-PTs right now, hear my voice right now. Oh, how I would love for y'all to be pulled out of a rejection loop. Oh, how I would love for y'all to start saying, hey, like what would my best self, y'all ever ask that question? Like, what would my best applicant self do in this situation? Would my best applicant self shoot in the dark and just apply to as many schools as possible? Or my best applicant self look for clarity as to which programs actually match me? Would my best self focus so much on the negative happening, or would my best self actually invest in myself to start, whether it's personal development, whether it's anything that actually builds up your confidence? It could be little things. Like for me, one thing I've done to build up my confidence is just committing to a fitness program. Like tonight, my wife and I ran a 10K. Like I couldn't have done that a few months ago, right? But committing to a fitness program where I show up for myself. I show up for me. I show up for my wife. I show up for y'all. It actually builds my confidence because I've said I'm going to do something and I actually follow through with it regardless of what happens. Regardless of whether I'm sick, I'm going to show up for a live stream. Regardless of whether I'm feeling like a cramp, I'm still going to do my run. Regardless of whether you as a pre-PT are feeling defeated by a program, you're still going to figure out, hey, where can I get clarity? Where can I get direction? Because it's for you, y'all. It's for you. But most of us are unwilling to ask those questions. So we get stuck in the rejection loop, y'all. And I want y'all to pull yourself out of it. I want y'all to start asking questions that say, hey, what should I be doing? Y'all realize that every single one of you is a completely different person. You have a completely different story, a completely different background. What's up, Taylor? A completely different background, completely different struggles. Some of y'all have amazing GPAs. Some of y'all don't. Hey, it doesn't, y'all can all still get accepted. Some of y'all are struggling with exams. Some of y'all aren't. Some of y'all are non-traditional students. You've been out of school for years and now you're trying to come back and you're scared. You're like, oh my goodness, I have all these youngins, coming straight from college and, they're going to absolutely blow me out of the water because I haven't been in school for 10 years. Y'all, listen, we all go through different things. We all have different struggles. We all have, we're all in that same position, y'all. But every single one of you is different. But if we keep playing it out of fear, if we keep applying out of fear, if we keep retaking classes out of fear that the worst possible scenario is bound to happen, well, let's not get surprised when it does. But also don't mistake it for it being a representation of you. It's not you. It doesn't in any way tell us that you can or can't be a physical therapist. But if you start asking the question, what would my best applicant self do? Your world will drastically change. What would my best acceptance like? So I've had this conversation with a few of our students in the accepted system. Once they get into PT school, I get on the phone with them. Now I asked them, I was like, "Hey, how does it feel?" And they're like, "Oh my goodness, this is a dream." That they usually are waiting. Like it usually takes a week, maybe two, to fully internalize it. But I asked them this question. I'm like, "Hey, imagine that you saw yourself 1 year ago today. What would you tell yourself?" And they always start to just display profound wisdom because they already know the end. They already know the ending to the story. They got accepted. They would have gone back and said, "Hey, these moments in your life where you were letting certain family members dictate your energy, where you literally were at your lowest point because you doubted yourself because of A, B, C, and D, those things you should have learned how to set boundaries. You should have learned how to they go back into it. They say, "Hey, this moment where you thought it was the end of the world, it really wasn't. It was actually teaching you how to do blank." Sometimes we need to just put a chair in front of ourselves and talk to our accepted version of ourselves. Because that will allow us to see things from a completely different perspective. Instead of acting as if that accepted version doesn't exist. If we apply thinking that, "Yo, listen, maybe I'm not meant to be a PT." Well, if you think that way, well, your actions unfortunately will show it, and you'll end up in this loop. But I can tell you right now, there is no difficulty that I haven't seen yet. But the students that crush it are the ones that start asking, "What would my best accepted self do? Where can I get guidance? Where can I get clarity so that I'm not having to do these things like applying to a lot of schools or so I don't have to do all these things that are keeping me in the rejection loop? How do I interpret it? What would my best applicant self tell me about how to interpret a rejection? About how to interpret how self-aware am I?" Those are the questions of an absolutely dominant applicant. And when you start asking questions like that, you will realize that, the ceiling completely lifts on what you can do as an applicant, on what you can do as a pre-PT. And those are the things that I want y'all to start thinking about, because my dream for 2020, y'all, because 2019 is almost done. My dream for 2020 is that the pre-PT nation starts to dig themselves out of the rejection loop. And we're here for that. Y'all, listen, this is why we're here to coach you, and but this starts internally. It starts internally where we're able to be real with ourselves and say, "Hey, what would my best applicant self be telling me right now? And if I'm stuck, where can I find help? Is it pre-PT grind? Is it where can I find help?" But once you start asking those questions, then you'll be one gigantic step closer to getting accepted into a doctor of physical therapy program. And I can't wait, y'all. I cannot wait to see every single one of y'all in a PT program. I really can't. It's one of the most amazing feelings when you know that you're within your purpose. And for every single one of you, if that is your purpose, then we have to get out of the rejection loop. Does that make sense? So tonight, I want y'all to just reflect. Whether you're watching this on replay or live, I want y'all to reflect. Am I in the rejection loop? Am I taking actions that are actually holding me back more than helping me? Am I caught up in a lot of thoughts that are actually shaping actions that might actually be pulling away from an acceptance? Am I being real with myself? Am I being transparent with myself? Am I asking what my best applicant self would do? And if I know what that is, am I doing it? If I don't, am I looking for guidance? Am I asking somebody for help? Because once you do that, then it's game over. Then it's game over. And that's all I have for tonight. But I don't know if Casey, I tried, bro. Let me see if I can. Casey, I tried again, man. It's not letting you on, bro. But y'all will hear more from Casey, man of wisdom. But tonight, I hope that was helpful to somebody. If that was helpful to somebody, then did my job. But I want y'all to crush it. I want y'all to dominate as applicants. But honestly, this is something you've fallen in love with. So I want y'all to have it. But to have it, there's some things that we have to do very differently as applicants from everybody else. All right. Oh, Casey, all right, bet. Sounds good, brother. Everybody else that's live, much love. To those of y'all watching on replay, much love as well. I hope this challenged you. Go crush it. Go dominate it. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Bye.